I've been doing research into the father's rights movement. I've been researching the history of the father's rights movement, and I've been researching the various different subcultures of the father's rights movement. And I've been researching their Facebook groups, mostly.
Really? You researched fathers' rights on Facebook? Wow! You're a real scholar.
I've checked out a few of their websites. I've checked out Father for Justice and a few other sites. And I'm not impressed. Men lack solidarity with other men.
Oh, so men lack solidarity with other men. When you say that, do you mean like people like you throwing the fathers' rights movement under the bus? Just a thought.
Now, this meme that I found that I'm showing in the screen in the video, I found this on Facebook.
You already told us you did your research on Facebook? Not surprised. Good job.
And let's read it. We live in a country that sends non-violent drug offenders to treatment and jails fathers for unpaid child support after he loses his job. Right, this country is the USA. That's the biggest country that jails fathers for not paying child support.
Well, you could probably help these Americans out by telling us all about our laws and our legal system and all that. You could totally... While you're at it, why don't you tell us what we subconsciously think and feel? I would appreciate that. You sound like you got an American accent. Is that the Bronx?
It's mostly Americans in these groups. Now, the vast majority of people in America are in jail for non-violent crimes. The vast majority of people in jail in America are in jail for drug-related offences.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. In the federal prison system, there is close to 50% of the people that are there for drug-related offenses. Federal, because they cross state lines carrying drugs, or in some states, the drug isn't illegal, but it is federally illegal. Caught like marijuana in a few states. But in the federal prison system, almost 50%. In the state prison systems, there is 16% of the people that are there for drug-related offenses, and almost 50% are there for violent crimes. Oh, and there are 6 times more people in the state prison system than in the federal. Not something I really want to get into here, but you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Quit telling people shit when you're talking out your ass. Google's right in front of you, not Facebook. Press a couple buttons, find your info, carry on without putting your mouth up your own ass.
So, yes, there you go.
Yes, there you go.
And the proportion of violent offenders is actually very low, according to statistics I found.
Did you find these statistics on Facebook by chance?
It's in the low double digits on average, between 9 and 11%.
9, 11, 17, 43, 26, 22. Why don't you just pull all the numbers out of your ass that you want? I noticed no citations, no links. So basically you're just saying numbers. Good job. Ones that are wrong. Couple links down in my low bar.
And you've got to understand, a lot of these violent offenders, are going to be in jail for petty violent offences. So, like slapping someone, for example, that's technically a violent offence.
Yes, Skippy. Slapping someone is technically violent. Did they teach you this on Facebook as well?
Now, these guys, they're trying to throw other men under the bus. I've talked about this before, and this is just more evidence of my accusation against the father's rights movement.
The fathers' rights movement seeks to throw people under the bus. Pfft. That's a great bit of propaganda. Why don't you tell us what the fuck you mean by that?
They're snivelling, basically. These guys are not getting punished.
You're insane. This meme is not sniveling saying, oh, they don't put drug guys in jail. Wah. this meme is pointing out the disparity here, the problem. We as a society condemn drug use. However, we as a society let nonviolent drug offenders go frequently. We as a society say we value fathers. We as a society jail fathers that can't afford to pay child support even if they lose their job. It's pointing out the disparity, as I mentioned to you in your comment section before you blocked me.
They're not getting punished. We're the good guys. We're getting punished for being good men.
You laugh at men that are getting fucked over in regards to their children. You're a piece of shit. You know that? You're like up there with Steve Shive's piece of shit.
Toddle off to the men's rights movement subreddits and bitch and moan with the other guys who are upset at the unfair divorce settlement or because they never get to see their kids.
It's pathetic. I have no respect for this.
And I have no respect for you.
You're men. You should be glad that other men are getting treatment for their drug addiction.
Your meme doesn't say men that are getting treatment for drug addiction, but it doesn't really matter. I'm happy that anybody gets treatment for drug addiction. However, I think that society should look at a father that can't afford to pay his child support a little bit better than a drug addict, maybe? Just a little bit better than a drug addict. If the guy tries and he can't fucking do it, he's not a piece of shit. That's the point of this meme. We shouldn't put guys in jail that aren't doing wrong. That's the point of the meme. We recognize there is a problem here that isn't necessarily criminal. It's not criminal intent when it comes to a drug addict. We're not recognizing that still when it comes to child support. Get that through your head. This isn't about dragging other people down. It's about pulling other people up. I don't understand what kind of movement that you are part of that's about pulling other people down. Oh, you're a feminist. That's it. Sorry. I get it now.
Even if what you say is true, I don't particularly think America's particularly great at treating non-violent drug offenders. It seems to just throw them in prison.
How many times have you been to America? You sound like you've never been here. Unless you're from the Bronx, like I said earlier. I don't think so. Think you're from England. Think you're from way across the pond and you're trying to tell us how the legal system works over here. You ever hear of a methadone clinic? You know what methadone clinics are for? They're for drug addicts. Non-violent drug addicts that are not incarcerated. Do some fucking research.
You know? That's why America's got the highest incarceration rates in the world. Okay? It's not really such a soft touch, really. You seem to imply. Oh, the bad men, they don't get punished. No, that doesn't happen.
Yes, the really bad men get punished. As I stated earlier, the violent motherfuckers go to prison. 16% versus 50% almost. Okay? Wrap your head around that.
And men who go to prison are at risk of getting raped, right? They're at risk of getting sexually assaulted.
Do you honestly think the guys that are afraid of going to jail for not paying child support have not thought of the fact that they might get raped while they're in there, you fucking moron? Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with your head?
Prison, you should only be glad if someone goes to jail if there's no other choice, if they're actually a genuine danger, especially since the prison system is so bad in the USA. You should be glad that people are not going to jail, even if what you're saying is true, which I don't believe it is.
I don't think anybody's saying, yay, put people in jail for drugs. I think they're saying, quit putting us in jail for not paying child support. Do you understand this yet? McFly, hello?
The father's rights movement, you lot have got no class solidarity with other men. You talk about your plight as a father. Me, it's unfair. What you face is a systematic problem, devaluation as men as human beings, and that's why your role as a father gets walked all over.
Hey, look, broken clock time. You're fucking right about something. Yes, the problem isn't just fathers' rights issues, which is why a good number of men that are concerned with fathers' rights, like myself, call themselves men's rights activists because they realize that the problem extends well beyond just the family court sphere. What does this meme of yours even have to do with this not being the case? What does this mean? You are just like so dead set on digging up anything against the father's rights movement that you're doing it backwards. You're looking at the meme backwards. You're like, let's drag people down instead of let's lift them up. What the fuck is wrong with your brain?
And the thing is, you signed up for this when you got married as well. You signed up for the provider role, and it's getting forced on you via divorce, via state violence, and it's terrible. But you signed up for it, and now you're trying to throw other men under the bus.
I'm telling you now that nobody signs up to lose their fucking kids like that, okay? Nobody who you're seeing in the father's rights movement feels like they signed up to lose their kids. They're angry and frustrated at a system that treats their rights wrong. Now, I understand that you think that you hold the golden ticket to all of this, that you really understand it and everything else, but you don't know the first fucking thing of what you're talking about. You've been right about one thing in this video so far. You are an idiot. You don't understand why people are fighting this battle. You think they're doing it backwards. You think they're whinging and crying. No, they're not whinging and crying. They're pointing out disparities. They're pointing out an issue that is wrong, that they feel is a problem. As I pointed out to you in the comments section of your video before you blocked me, if a person was to say, isn't it fucked up that child molesters only go to prison for 5 years, yet a bank robber goes for 20, people wouldn't say, you're telling us that we should have bank robbers go to prison for less time. They would say, you're saying that child molesters should go to prison for longer. Right? It's obvious as fuck. And nobody would be saying we need to tear down this and fucking completely redo it. They're pointing out a problem with the way society views these two issues, how the law views these two issues, and how it needs fixed. Pretty simple.
What it is actually, you're subconsciously looking for other groups of lower status men with lower status, and you're pointing the finger at them.
And now you're just talking out your ass. Now you're just talking out your ass. You claim to know what other people are thinking. Look, my thoughts about a drug addict is nil. I don't care. I don't fucking care. As long as they're not a problem to me personally or in my way or fucking making our society just bleed money like mad, I don't give a fuck. Okay? What I do care about is the issues faced by fathers in family court. And comparing them to the issues faced by a drug addict is perfectly fair when you're talking about criminals. I'm not talking about dragging the drug addicts down. I'm talking about lifting the fathers up. I'm just going to keep saying this so that by the end of the video, you might have gotten it through that fucking thick skull.
Going, oh, look at them. Look at them. No respect for that. It's pathetic. You need, fathers, you need to develop a class identity as men.
A class identity as men? No. No. Drawing further divisions in humanity is not the answer. Sorry.
Now, alienated fathers. If you don't get to see your kid is being raised by a single mother. If your kid's being raised by a single mother, they're more likely to end up in jail. They're more likely to take drugs, to deal with the emotional abuse they're going to receive.
Hey, they're right. A broken clock is right twice a day. Look at that.
Right? So you want a society that gives boys who develop drug addictions, young men who develop drug addictions, the benefit of the doubt and every chance to reform and clean up. You need a society like that because it could be your son that could end up in jail.
You are so far off the mark at this point, you're not even making any sense. Yeah, okay, sure. We want our kids to have access to drugs. Or to drug treatment, excuse me. Yeah, access to drugs and the treatment. Woohoo. We want our kids to have a fucking fair shake. Boy or girl. Again, you're placing men on that meme where it's not talking about men when it's talking about drug addicts, is it?
Also, many fathers end up developing drug habits, drinking habits, because they can't cope with the emotional turmoil from being kicked away from their kids.
Yes, many of the fathers end up on drugs and alcohol as well. Which is yet another reason why I would dare say this meme is not about tearing down the drug addict, but about building up the father, or pointing out the disparity in public perception and legal system. Maybe that's what this meme was about. Maybe you are fucking completely wrong, like you were about almost everything else so far in your video.
Listen, and there's plenty of pathetic, grovelling memes like this. Plenty. Father's rights. Get your acts in order.
Get our act in order. You know what? You're right. What we need to do is just stop talking about legal disparities, because if we stop talking about a disparity in the law, that's the best way to get the law to change to fix those disparities. God forbid somebody points them out, because then they're just crying and whinging about not having their kids. Oh, woe is me. Woe is me. By the way, I want you to notice something about the reason that you blocked me. You actually kind of insulted me first, didn't you? Well, not just with your video, but when you said that my comparison was shit. You kind of just chose not to even entertain the discussion, didn't you? All right, YouTube, have a good day. Felfop out.